provided by isaprinciples.org platform. Independent system architecture is basically a collection of best practices for microservices and self contained systems. So, what are these principles? Let's take a look. The first principle is about modularity, and it says that the system must be divided into modules that provide interfaces. Access to other modules is only possible through these interfaces. So, the idea is that modules must not directly depend on the implementation details of other modules. The second principle is about architectural decisions. On that, the ISA says that there are two levels of architectural decisions, the macro level and the micro level. At the macro level architectural decision, it comprises all those decisions that cover all the modules, and the micro level includes those decisions that are specific for the individual module. The third principle says that the modules must be implemented as separate processes, containers, or virtual machines to maximize independence and enable a separation between macro and micro architecture. The fourth principle talks about the choice of integration and communication options. On that, ISA says that these options must be limited and standardized for the system. The integration might be done with synchronous or asynchronous communication on the UI level, and the communication must use a limited set of protocols like RESTful HTTP or messaging. And it makes sense to use just one protocol for each integration option. The fifth principle is about metadata for authentication, which must be standardized. This might be done using a token that is transferred with each call or request, or with the help of a trace ID to track a call and its dependent calls through the microservices. Then it says that each module must have its own independent continuous delivery pipeline. Tests are part of those CD pipelines, so the modules must be tested independently. In the next principle, it says that operations should be standardized too. This includes configuration, deployment, log analysis, tracing, monitoring, and alerting. But in some cases, for certain modules and their specific requirements, there can be some exceptions from the standard. The eighth principle says the standards for operation, integration, or communication should be enforced on the interface level. For example, the communication protocol and data structures could be standardized to a specific JSON payload format exchanged using HTTP, but every module should be free to use a different REST library or implementation. And finally, it says that the modules must be resilient. They must compensate unavailable modules or communication problems. They must be able to cope with unexpected shutdowns without losing data or state. It must be possible to move them to other runtime environments. Like you can change the host, you can change the network and the configuration anytime as per the situation. They must have that level of resiliency. So these are some of the best practices, or we can say design principles for microservices that are provided at isaprinciples.org platform. They have provided a detailed PPT and a separate document for reasoning behind each and every principle mentioned here. One must go through these along with the 12-factor app best practices codified by Heroku platform.